I don't know if you can see the face. It's like post-new web card go live face, right? He's pretty trash. We were wasted 20 hours from the car to the summit, back down, and to the car, nonstop push. We were pretty trash. So any reasonable person would have went home, called it a day, been pretty successful. We made a 100% goal by any stretch of the imagination. But like Tina and John shared with us, and Darlene has mentioned, 100% is not good enough for most of the people in this room. That's why we're here. That's why we keep coming to Build Bear every day. What about 150%? What if we could go do our other objective? What if my feet would survive and I took enough ibuprofen? What if there was enough ibuprofen available in Yosemite Valley for me to buy, to take, to get up this wall? What would happen? Would my feet make it? Could I make it? I thought it was possible. I had to ask myself, is it possible? So we packed up. Now this is a lot different. As a matter of fact, this style of climbing is kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum. It's called big wall climbing. And in big wall climbing, there's significant differences. First of all, you're moving relatively slowly. It took us about 20 hours, really about 6 or 8 hours to do the technical rock climbing, 2,500 feet on Half Dome. This was 1,200 feet of climbing, and we planned 2 to 3 days to do it because it's so steep, so difficult that you move slowly. Since you're moving slowly, you've got to bring everything you need to survive. Toilet paper, food, water, sleeping bags, first aid kits, anything and everything you think you might need to survive. Get to the top, you pack it all in these bags, get loaded up. 120 pounds each. We each have a big load like this on our backs. Don't tell Jody and Josh, but my load was a little smaller. That's what happens when you're a senior climber. You can pull some tricks here and there. But we almost forgot the King Cobras. Talk about that more later. It's a little something for the summit. They're heavy though. So we make this huge hike, get to the base of the wall with 120 pounds on your back alone would kill most normal people. Because we're at altitude, we're making it to the base, we set up for the climb, we're ready to go. Here's a photo taken from the valley floor, and this little speck right here is us on the wall. And so you can see now this is a dead vertical wall, and in places it's overhanging. So 2 St. Louis arches stacked up. We launch off, Jody takes off, does the first 40 feet, and he comes down. He said, I'm not into it. He said, I can't commit. He didn't believe, he didn't have the passion that he thought he needed, but he made a wise call and he stepped out right there and he said, you know what? I'm not the right person for your team. So we had to ask ourselves some key questions. Could Josh not do it? At that point, Josh had this is his 3rd day, it's his 4th rock climb. And he'd been climbing just a few months. I knew he was big here mentally, that he had the push and craziness to go with me. But it was really going to lie on my shoulders in a lot of senses from the technical. We had to reassess and ask ourselves, can we accomplish it? Do we believe in ourselves? Do we have absolute burning passion to get to the top? Rechart and redistribute our gear and narrow down to 2 persons gear instead of two people instead of 3. And we had to recommit. And guess what? That's what we did, right? So we jumped back on the wall. Now I want to explain a little something about aid climbing too that's different than free climbing. In aid climbing, we do the opposite. Like I said, it's very different. The cracks are so thin and the terrain is so difficult that you have to actually use the gear, in this case, all the time. So you put a piece of gear in, and you pull a step up on these ladders you see hanging down from you. You climb up there and you bounce test the gear. So when you're bounce testing the gear, on a rare occasion, you're bounce testing your gear, and you fall. So off I go, right above this roof, okay? I take a 25-foot fall and almost land on Jody's head. But it was an interesting point. I know we all have these moments in our projects where something really crazy happens and we just have to step back and ask ourselves. I was actually in a good state of mind and I realized I definitely had it. I took a deep breath, I was very focused and said, I'm good, my head's good, it's where it needs to be. I hopped back up and we got moving. We could have just hung out in the valley. Again, I think what's interesting is that why do we keep going? Wouldn't have one store at the gallery have been pretty impressive for Maxine to accomplish it. Everyone who was involved in that. What, 100 stores or 300? So what's enough? How many summits is enough for us? Like I said, I think everybody in this room, the reason we keep coming back is that we want more than that. One summit's not good enough for any of us. We keep pushing. As soon as we climb one, we can see another one. Take ourselves to the next level.